Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of July 8th, and it's an active and a quiet week in a way in the astrology. And I am looking at the week as a bit of a roller coaster. It's a little up and down, up and down. So we'll chat about the full moon in Capricorn this week that is also accompanied by the ruling planet of Capricorn, Saturn, stationing retrograde. And we'll chat about what that all means. This is definitely a culmination week when we have a full moon. It's always the top of the hill, the climax that we've been reaching for the month. The moon's getting quite bright out there, and it's a little lower in the sky, so you kind of have to get at a little different angle to see it at that low angle in the sky, but it's still very bright and emitting a ton of energy from the sign of Capricorn this week. So actually today, though, we still have the moon in Sagittarius. I give this report on July 8th from the Pacific West Coast. So any times and dates that I use are from my area. And so the moon in Sagittarius, it has been an adventurous one. You know, you take on a new spirit with Sagittarius. There's energy and excitement, and things get amplified and become bigger than they may actually be in reality. Sagittarius actually does have a way of blowing things up, expanding, even exaggerating things a little bit. And so this moon is, as I'm here at the final degrees of Sagittarius, taking on those critical last degrees, taking on the final adventure, and getting that ultimate excitement in Sagittarius is a fire sign. So we get sparky, we get hot. You can feel the heat coming from the sign of Sagittarius. And when the moon is moving through a sign, that is the mood for the day. It's the general vibes. It's the emotions that we're feeling. The moon very much affects our emotions. And Sagittarius is, as I mentioned, a big one. And it's also known as just kind of the wise one. The wisdom of Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. So for the rest of the evening tonight, we have this Sagittarius moon, and we can utilize that energy to grab onto things and get some of that excitement if need be. Then also this evening on July 8th, the moon is T-squaring the nodes of destiny. So that makes this day very destined. There is fate that comes in, and we are feeling that when a T-square comes in. It's basically a crossroads in the zodiac chart. In terms of the astrology, it's a point where you can go left or right or straight or backwards, and that's the crossroads, and that is the nodes of fate, and that is the destiny that comes in, because the choice that's made and the actions and the things that take place and ensue are going to be felt on the long-term impacts of the future. So today, Tuesday, July 8th, very destined day. Whatever adventures you take on for the rest of the evening are destined and fateful and are going to make a big impact and transition the course of life and for the future. And then on July 9th, we wake up in the morning and the moon has already shifted into Capricorn. So we are basically waking up on Wednesday morning this week with full moon vibes all day long. The moon moves into Capricorn, and we have a heavier, more serious mood that comes in with Capricorn. It is definitely more of a restrictive energy, more constrictive, deals with boundaries and structures and work and your career and the legacy that we want to leave on the future. Capricorn wants to make sure that their actions are culminating and their energy is going towards, and they are taking responsibility for the impact that they are making and the legacy that they are leaving for future generations, whether that be some big impact that you're making on your family or a business move that is really important to you, and your life's work is all wrapped up in Capricorn. So we wake up Wednesday morning just diving into this life's work, and it's all culminating and peaking as it comes to a head for the full moon on July 10th. But before we get there, that Capricorn moon, it goes through some aspects on the 9th. It has an inconjunct, two inconjuncts to go through, two squares, and an opposition. These aspects that the moon is going through on Wednesday are all considered to be challenging. So this day, Wednesday, July 9th, looks to be quite serious, quite heavy, potentially have some constrictions to it, maybe some new boundaries, some new laws, some new structure has come in. We are making adjustments to that with the inconjuncts. That's 5 signs apart, and it's considered an annoying aspect. The squares are kind of like being blindsided from the side. Something you weren't expecting sort of comes in and cuts from the side. And we're making adjustments and taking a little bit of action with these squares also. And in opposition, in the evening, just only culminates it further because that is a decision-making energy. So we come to a final decision that we make toward the end of the day on Wednesday, July 9th, and that day leads us in. It is basically 2 full days of full moon vibes. The second day of these full moon vibes is the actual culmination point at 1:36 p.m. This looks like it's at a little bit before 19 degrees of Capricorn. So those of you that have strong Capricorn energy, maybe your sun or your ascendant or any other planets in Capricorn, going to be affected by this culmination point here. And here we go. So this is directly opposing the sun in Cancer. So those with a lot of Cancer energy are going through your Cancer season right now. Happy birthday to all the Cancers out there. This culmination point comes right at the end of your season. And for Cancers, that can be felt as everything coming to a culmination point for this season. There is also such strong Saturn energy this week. Saturn's the ruler of this Capricorn full moon, just to bring in a little more intensity. As I mentioned, this Capricorn full moon is a bit more serious. It's a bit more heavy. It carries with it more responsibility and sort of owning up to our responsibilities and the duties that we have, the duties in our life, the things that we're responsible for. Obligations also tied all up in this, things that we are needing to do, part of the structural pieces of our life, but may not be some of the shiniest, prettiest stuff because, again, obligations, duties, responsibilities, a little more of that heavier side to it where there seems to be, if we don't take care of these things, that there are conflicts that take place, and that if we don't face up to the duties and the responsibilities, that there's blowback and that there are consequences, and there can be holdups in that when we don't step up to the plate and swing the bat in our life. So that's what this full moon seems to be culminating in terms of the astrology for myself. As I look at it, I see being put up to the test here, getting up to the plate and swinging that bat and taking the best swing that you can. There is so much to Capricorn energy because it's represented by the sea goat. The sea goat, that is a creature that is mythical, that can dwell in the depths of the ocean, and it can also dwell on land. And so Capricorns have the ability to literally do it all. There is something to Capricorn that, well, they know how to step up to the plate and swing the bat. And they just do that all the time in their lives. They're wonderful problem solvers. This is a cardinal energy. And that means that Capricorns and Capricorn energy and this full moon on July 10th that we're talking about is an opportunity to step up and swing and take action and make things happen and initiate the things that you're working on, initiate new steps, initiate this culmination point, initiate swinging the bat. The energy could feel a little drier, like a little more of that seriousness coming in. It's not as fun or happy-go-lucky, reveling this evening on July 8th that I'm giving this report in that Sagittarius moon. By the time we wake up on the 9th and moving through this full moon into the afternoon on Friday, July 11th, the energy is going to be more serious and not feel as playful. There's going to be a need for us to step up and look where we stand. Where do we stand on our responsibilities, the duties, the obligations? Where do we stand with these things in our life and the rule structures and the laws? And this is going to be seen in the larger world also. This full moon is looking to be potentially a culmination point for these things as a greater society, these greater systems, structures, rule structures, laws at play. We're going to be looking at them and deciding where we stand and taking action and making things happen and initiating change. There is going to be an inner drive that gets us to take action in the outer world. On July 11th, that energy from the full moon starts to wane in the morning and work its way into the moon in Aquarius. This week is actually pretty quiet when it turns out to look at the planetary aspects. It's pretty quiet. There's a lot of lunar action, but there's very, very few planetary aspects, meaning that these days could feel quite different from each other. And also the day after this full moon on July 11th, it could feel a little bit like a wave, like a second wave that comes because there's no more planetary aspects on the 11th. We're just going to be feeling almost another full half of a day there of this full moon until the moon moves into Aquarius, where we show more independence. We show more freedom. We're a little bit more radical and revolutionary. We want to do different things. Aquarius is a sign that's ruled by Uranus, and Uranus has just moved into a new sign. Uranus itself looking at new cycles in Gemini now. It's going to be in an air sign, making a trine now for the next 7-8 years, how long Aquarius moves through a sign. It's going to be making a trine back to its home sign, Aquarius. So it's going to be feeling definitely over the next 7-8 years a lot different than it has in Taurus the last 7-8 years. We were in a square to the home sign, and that is a little tougher. It's more challenging. It's opportunities to really turn corners. So we've seen a lot of corners being turned, and now Uranus in a new sign and in a very easy trine to its home sign of Aquarius, is going to be sparking so much newness. And we are going to be feeling confident in taking steps this week with that. But Uranus, in terms of brand new energies, this last week makes it so when the moon pops into Aquarius this week, it's like, whoa, Uranus is in a new spot. And so that moon makes a trine to that new energy of Uranus, and it's in Gemini. So it's going to be more of a curious energy where it's going to be asking questions and gathering data and taking in different perspectives in terms of asking a lot of questions and listening to those answers, asking more questions, leading down little rabbit holes of data finding opportunities. So very, very different energy for this moon in Aquarius with its ruling planet just recently popped into a new sign. Then on July 12th, the planet Saturn is stationing retrograde. And that's another reason why this full moon is going to be so powerful this week, because the ruling planet Saturn is sitting very, very still in the sky and is felt extremely strongly. So Saturn stationing retrograde this week being felt very strongly, meaning that we are feeling strongly our duties, obligations, responsibilities. We're feeling the restriction. We're feeling the boundaries and pulling in a little bit here. Maybe even saying no a little more than we normally do, because Saturn is the planet that says no. It says no. I have a boundary. I have a bubble. I have a limit, and I am going to be responsible about keeping these limits and boundaries for myself, for my health, and so that I can continue to work on this long-term legacy that I am leaving on this planet and in my energetic field. Ultimately, that is what Capricorn wants to do. They want to focus on that, on the future, on what they are leaving for the future generations in terms of the work that they are doing now. And Capricorn is not afraid to put in the work. This could be a week where you are called to put in the work for whatever it is. You can look at your astrological birth chart for a little bit more information on where this full moon is working in your life by looking at 19 degrees of Capricorn, finding which house that's in terms of the astrology. There's 12 houses, and that says which area of life there is going to be this culmination point for you, with the ruling planet stationing retrograde and things really starting to slow down, you guys. It is getting to be almost the time for Mercury to station retrograde. We have just had Neptune go retrograde, Saturn, Pluto already there, Mercury doing that soon. So things are starting to slow down and take a little more time. Communications maybe getting lost, taking slower amounts of time to get places to places, people not responding to messages, maybe messages not even getting through, emails being lost. So be patient and listen. Listen to the plot line here, what's coming up, and what is it that you are to look at this week in terms of this large culmination point. It's going to be a fun one. Make sure to get out and peek at that beautiful full moon on Wednesday and Thursday night this week. And the moon moves into Pisces on Sunday the 13th, and we end the week with a nice watery, emotional dissolvement of everything. So that should be quite fun and interesting. I wish you the very best. Take very good care of yourself. Thanks for listening to the Cosmic Community Astrology with the Galactic Ambassador, Stacey Dredd. Take care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.